When we think about innovations, we often think about technologies like computers. But the same characteristics that predict whether a new computer will do well can also predict whether a prevention program will be successful. Diffusion of innovation theory identifies 5 characteristics that can predict whether or not an innovation will be successfully diffused. These include perceived advantage, compatibility, complexity, triability, and observability. In this video, we'll walk through each of these 5 characteristics to see how it might affect the success of a suicide prevention program. This suicide prevention program trains high school students to identify risk factors in their peers and to persuade them to seek help from a school counselor. Now, let's look at each of those 5 factors to see how we can utilize them to make sure that this is an attractive program for schools to implement. First, let's look at perceived advantages of the program. How does it differ from what's already in place? Does the school have any suicide prevention programs in place? And if so, does this program have features that the other programs don't offer? Highlighting those differences and how your program might differ from other programs in the field can really help to make the program seem more attractive for adoption. Next, let's look at the issue of compatibility. How well does this program fit into a school day? Can it be taught in a single class or in a single week? These are factors that might make it easier for a school to adopt. Next, let's consider the complexity of the program. Keeping prevention programs like this as simple as possible while maintaining their effectiveness is important for widespread adoption. So, we might want to ask, is the program understandable to the students? Are the instructions easy to follow? Is it set up in a way that's understandable? All these can lead to less complexity and higher levels of adoption. Next, we will examine triability. How much would a school have to invest in order to use this program? How much would it cost? How many people would have to be involved? And if it didn't work out, how easy would it be to switch to something else? All of these should be considerations in designing a program that is ready to be adopted by a large number of schools. Finally, let's look at observability. How would we know if the program's working? This is where a good program evaluation plan can come in handy to support the widespread adoption of a program. Knowing how many people were referred to school counselors and what the students thought of the program can serve as evidence that either supports or doesn't support the success of the program. In this week's reflection assignment, I want you to think about how you would address each of these 5 factors if you were to create a program aimed at reducing underage substance use. For each of the 5 factors, write 1 or 2 sentences on how you would address that factor. For example, how would you improve relative advantage in your program versus existing programs? I look forward to seeing your answers.